Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fans of Sky Tier. This is the Commander reporting here for duty, bringing to you live the October World Qualifier Championship round. Tonight's match will feature Ian versus Clinton. After a brawling battle in the qualifiers through the Swiss rounds, these two gentlemen will be battling it out for the right to earn a wildcard invitation to the championships held in just under 2 months. Before the stream started, we did hold the coin toss. Clinton won the coin toss, electing to go first. So we see that on this situation, Clinton has opted to go with Kordov, Ian responding with Shilovy and Freyhill. We'll go ahead and zoom out for just a second while we go ahead and finish the draft so we can see what both players have as their options for heroes. We see that Clinton is bringing the rainbow deck again, very aggressive with Shilovy, Kordov, Neliklin, Hokusai, Yami, Satheru. And Ian has a almost mono blue deck. Brilvar, Astrida, Freyhill, Neliklin, Kordov, and Shilovy. So we'll see who the remaining heroes are. Additionally, our objectives for this evening are going to be the Tamer and Tactician. Our outsiders for the game, Terror of the Endless Night, brought by Ian. Dark Vigilante, brought by Clinton. So if we go ahead and refresh those, we can get that there. In the meantime, we do see a little bit of more of the draft there. Ian finishing off the draft. His final team will be Shilovy, Brilvar, Freyhill, with Kordov in the reserve. Hokusai, Yami, Kordov, and Satheru in the reserve for Clinton. So I expect a very aggressive game out of Clinton. I expect a control-heavy game out of Ian. Let's see what the end result here is. Both of these players have demonstrated very flexible and very cunning tactics in their playoff games. And so let's go ahead and see who emerges victorious, wins the Sky Tier World Qualifier wildcard, and who finishes as the Valiant runner-up. Again, of course, as a special bonus reminder, we will be featuring another new card from the Endless Sun expansion at the conclusion of this match. It is a green card, as I hinted at yesterday, +2, reaction, and a 1 mana card. Those are the only hints that we've given away right now. What will happen in the rest of the stream? Are there going to be any hints dropped today? Who knows? If I come up with something that is situationally appropriate or that I choose to simply force into the equation, we'll go ahead and do so. Otherwise, we will reveal this card in full, so please do keep your eye on the general channel at the conclusion of this match to take a look at yet another card from the upcoming expansion. Meanwhile, our players are going to just go ahead doing some discarding. We saw Clinton got rid of a couple Psychic Shields. Despite the fact that Freyhill is on the field and Kordov in the reserve, not particularly threatened by any power cards from Freyhill, as this deck that Ian is running is identical to the one that we saw from Eric yesterday with the third place match. And so Ian also being part of the team that Clinton works with, the Off-Meta Gaming, or OMG, as they call themselves, Ian is aware that pretty much the only power cards that will deal direct damage are on Shilovy from Ian, and feels that it's not really worth concerning too much about that, and decides to go ahead and remove the cards instead. Meanwhile, Yami is going to activate first. She is fast, even though she doesn't have the figure on her. We're going to go ahead, move through the minion there. We are then going to worship onto Freyhill. Very nice. We are going very aggressive. This is one of the great things about Yami. And flip against her there, 1+. So we have 1+1, which is 2 damage minus the armor, will bring Freyhill down to 15. Now, does the final action skirmish into Dome 3? Yes, he does. Okay, we're going to flip against Freyhill, and into the Dome we go. Makes perfect sense. Clinton really values the Dark Vigilante. So 2 skirmish damage, less 1 armor, will drop Freyhill down to 14 hit points. Fairly, I would say, expected opening from Clinton. Gets a small amount of lane control, a small amount of damage, and then starts setting up for control of the Dark Vigilante. Given that the Tamer kill is an objective this game, 2 kills with the 2 enemy hero kills with an outsider, Dark Vigilante is perfect for that. Meanwhile, Brilvar going to go ahead and worship on one of his teammates here on Freyhill. Flipping a card over, Dance of the Predator to heal her off. Very nice. Brings her back up to full. 1+. Next step we're going to do is move... Oh, I'm sorry. Shillavy is activating. That's on the wrong... The active marker is on the wrong person. So Shillavy is going to move into the dome and lead from the hand. So presumably that's going to be a +4 lead control there for Ian in dome number 2. With the Terror of the Endless Night, Terror will get to activate before the Dark Vigilante, which means that it could potentially mess up some positioning. It could also go ahead and apply a disarm to the Dark Vigilante, which would hamper its effectiveness. So that might be something that Ian goes for, actually. That would be very interesting to see if he uses Terror to hamper the Dark Vigilante during the activation, assuming that he wins dome number 2. I'm excited. That is a very nice possibility that would be a little bit different, I think, from what we see the Outsiders normally used for. All right, so Clinton is going to go ahead and skirmish. It looks like Hokusai is activating here. Perhaps. Oh. Here we activating Hokusai. Yes. All right, so Hokusai looks like he's going to skirmish up into the lane. I don't see him challenging the dome. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and control Dome 3, just like that. Move up, move into the area there. Worship onto Freyhill, so we're going to do explosive damage to her. 1+ the flip to both her and Hokusai, that's 3 damage. Now, Freyhill does not have any armor at this point. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Brilvar is still within range. So Freyhill has -1 armor from Hokusai, +1 from Brilvar, so it does wash out there. Freyhill has 1 armor. That was a piercing attack, so Freyhill to 13 and Hokusai to 14. The final action here for the Worship does mean that Hokusai is going to end in the lane. Is a quick shot an option? I believe that there are quick shots. So quick shots are on Nelliclin, who has not been drafted here, but there are shield slams on Hokusai. So it is possible to see that that minion that Hokusai is adjacent to ends up dying. All right, Brilvar going to activate now. Brilvar may go into the dome. Is Ian going to go for the double dome steal? Looks like it. Move and a skirmish into the dome. Korjoff is going to play the Sky Tier Discharge. Okay, so if Brilvar wants to go into that dome, Korjoff is going to punish him. Sky Tier Discharge will be 2+ piercing if Brilvar goes into the dome, as Korjoff is a mage. So, let's see. Does Ian decide to contest for that? Is he willing to take potentially 5 damage on Brilvar? Because Korjoff still has yet to activate, and with Korjoff having yet to activate, Korjoff moves into that dome, attacks skirmish. Okay, we're going for it. Do we flip against Yami? Yes, we do. 1 damage. Yami has armor, so no damage overall. And we're going to hide in the bush. That is a good idea, because that makes it harder for Korjoff to get to you. Time glitch on the Sky Tier Discharge means that Brilvar will take 4 damage, down to 13 HP. And so with this situation, I don't believe it's possible to assassinate, although Clinton does have the Flux. There is a Shattermind. Oh, nope, I'm looking at the wrong deck here. With Korjoff and Cytheria being drafted, there are 3 Shatterminds in the deck, which means that it is possible that Clinton could blow up Brilvar here with move, skirmish, attack, double Shattermind. Potentially triple Shattermind if he has that. Yami is a yellow hero. Once Korjoff spots Brilvar, you could deal the remaining 2 damage if necessary from your Yami there. I'm not sure that you would want to, or that you would have the cards, as there are only 4 cards in Clinton's hand, and that would be 3 of them. So let's see, what does Korjoff do? Additionally, if you fail to kill Brilvar, then you do lose both domes, as Brilvar did finish the round by leading in the dome, which means that if Clinton doesn't have a 3 mana, then the dome is lost. As it stands right now, Clinton does not have stone barricades, which means that Freyhill would be able to simply move into the dome and force a tie, even if Clinton does have a 3 mana lead available. So we'll need to see here what Clinton's actions are, and that could possibly give us some insight into what he might be holding in his hand. Satheru brings Psychic Vampirisms, Discharges, Shatter Mind, Clear Mind, and Dooms. Yami brings Psychic Shields, Dooms, Time Glitches. Hokusai brings more Psychic Vampirism, Impervious, and Shield Slams, as well as a Lifesteal. And Korjoff brings the final Discharge, 2 Shatter Mind, the Charm, and some Nightmares Incarnate as well for Clinton. So there is potential for damage, but that would require him to have a lot of cards in hand right now. So I think Clinton is currently weighing the options, doing some math. As it stands right now, if we skirmish against Brilvar, let's assume that we hit all +3s to be generous. Brilvar has 13 hit points, so a skirmish would do 3 damage down to 10. An attack could bring him to 4, so you would need to have 2 Shatter Minds to kill him. It is also possible that Clinton just worships with Korhoff and gets the shapeshifted form for next round. There is certainly kill potential next round. You could move into the dome, skirmish against Brilvar for some light damage, but you can't lead, so that's not the right play there. Yeah, I think that... Okay, let's see what we're going to do. We're going to move. We're going into the dome. Okay, so we're going to move, skirmish, attack, perhaps. I think we're going to go for the kill. Or the lead. Okay, so we're going to skirmish. If Clinton moves back away, then that tells me that he does not plan on going for the kill. Actually, no, not necessarily, because Brilvar could have a shield slam that he would want to play. Oh, okay, there's the +3 that we need, so Brilvar's down to 10. Do we skirmish away? Although that means you can't attack him, so if Clinton plans on going for the kill, I don't think he's going to move. I don't see him picking Korjoff back up, so it looks like we're thinking about going for the kill at this point. Now, Brilvar does have 1 mana, so it is possible that Ian is packing a Shield Slam that could be used to deal some damage to Korjoff, make him slow for turn number 2. However, now that I think about it, even if you do kill Brilvar, Freyhill can simply come into the dome and worship regardless. Excuse me, not worship, lead regardless, and you still win 3-2. So, in this case, lead, force Freyhill to come into the dome to draw a tie. This makes sense. Interesting that he didn't skirmish away, though, as that does leave him potentially vulnerable to a Brilvar taunt. Or... Alright, well, in any case, Ian's activation is up. Freyhill, currently marked and shapeshifted, so she will do piercing damage if she opts to attack anyone. I can foresee very easily move skirmish into the dome and attack. That forces a tie in Dome 3. She could also move, attack a minion to reduce the lane pressure down to a 3-2 lead instead of a 4-2 lead in Clinton's favor right now. And then move into the dome to support Brilvar. Again, of course, this is assuming that all leads from hands are 3. Of course, people can bluff. So let's see what we have here. So Ian is going to skirmish. So first activation here, we're going to skirmish against Hokusai. This will be a piercing damage. Skirmish. 1 damage. Hokusai to 13. Next action, do we attack a minion or do we move into the dome? Yep, we are going to... Oh, no, we're going to attack Hokusai. Okay, also makes sense as well. Hokusai getting attacked for 2+, the flip, again piercing. 0, so only 2 damage. Clinton's going to be happy to see that. Brings Hokusai to 11. Now the final action, we are going to move right, declares the move. I assume in this situation you move right into the dome. Yep, there we go. So that's going to, again, I assume force a 5-5 tie. So let's see what the Terror of the Endless Night does as a result. Terror can spawn in the cover hexes near Korjoff, skirmishing into the dome and then making life very difficult. He could also potentially grab Hokusai, fling him away, slow him, and make Hokusai more or less irrelevant in turn 2. Outside of potentially influencing Dome 3's control, as that control token is going to currently push 2 towards Ian's tower with a 4-2 situation. So let's see what happens here. We're going to end the turn, it looks like. Do we have any final plays? Nope. Control token advances 2 against Ian. Of course, no tower damage in round 1. We do see both of those minions die as a result. So all 3 of Clinton's minions are within range. They're not going to move anywhere. Clinton will summon 2 new minions. One, of course, has to be on the control token. The next one can be in any of the 6 hexes that he chooses. Going to place that one right there. And Ian will place one down below his tower, I assumed, setting up for potential Dark Vigilante spawns in turn 3. Or potentially in case... Alright, so Shillavi leads with a 3. Not surprising, so we're going to bring the Terror of the Endless Night on the field. Korjov and Brilvar both led with 3s as well, therefore no Dark Vigilante. So we will see the Terror of the Endless Night make an appearance. Oh, and the Kneel Before Me was used as the lead. That is unfortunate. We always love to see Yami ripping through on turn 3, although Clinton is running a pretty strong flip deck, so most likely going to cycle through. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Terror again, just to remind ourselves what it does. Maybe. Show me Terror. Okay, we're not showing Terror. Maybe if we scroll out a little bit more. There we go. All right. So the Terror of the Endless Night, obviously, as we mentioned, does have to spawn in a cover hex. Each hero 1 hex that they hit and slow in that AoE range that you see right there. Notice that it does say each hero. So in this situation, for some reason, if you felt like giving slow to both of your heroes, you could. I can't imagine why you would possibly do that with the current rule set. But it is possible, so do make sure you watch where you place the AoE. Dreadful Majesty does allow the target hero to be dragged next to the Endless Night and placed disarmed. I expect we'll see that against Korjov. And then finally, the Bloodlust applying Frenzy to a target hero as well. Target adjacent friendly hero. So we do see the skirmish in here. We'll go ahead and drop this on 18 as the Terror is now in play. We did see a lot of damage on that yesterday from Michael. All right, so we're going to skirmish. Korjov does take 1 point of damage. Yami, interestingly enough, is going to be the one that is dragged. Surprised he didn't do Korjov, since Korjov does deal piercing damage, but I guess in this situation he wants to apply the double slow. That makes sense as well, I guess, so fair enough. Yami is now disarmed and slowed, whereas Korjov is simply slowed. Now, of course, Yami doesn't really care too much about being slowed in this setup here. There's only 2 minions remaining for Ian, so she's not really going to need to walk through them, and her worship action does allow her to teleport to the marked target. Whether that is Freyhill or Brilvar, if she chooses to go after either of them, both within range. She also may just choose to target the Terror himself, such that she moves up 2 or 3 hexes. We'll see what the option is here. Clinton begins round number 2. So, looking here, Brilvar at 10 is adjacent to Freyhill, and as we mentioned, Freyhill does not have healing cards in this deck. If my intel is correct, I don't see Nourishes, I don't see Sacrifices, which means that with a Korjov activation here, if there are some power cards in hand, attack skirmish power card kills kills Brilvar. That would, of course, allow Ian's Korjov to come in ready for activation, so Clinton may not opt to kill him right away, trying to force out Brilvar to activate first for Ian. Of course, given that Ian does go last, Clinton will have to activate Korjov at some point before Ian, if Ian is determined to let Brilvar go last. So let's see what the play is for Clinton in this situation. He has a modest lead in the middle here, currently a 5-2 minion lead. Hokusai is 6. If Hokusai were to skirmish, pop a minion with either Shield Slam or Attack, and then move into the dome, a Yami Worship could nullify armor, making someone a little bit easier for them to kill. Of course, Korjov doesn't care about armor to begin with. All right, so We're going to skirmish. All right, Korjoff is going, so it looks like we're going to go and do Operation Assassinate Sonic the Hedgehog. 2 damage there brings him down to 8. I assume we now see an attack. Yep, there's the attack. So this is going to be 3 plus the flip here. 2 damage, 5. All right, show me Shattermind. If there's a Shattermind, this is a dead Brilvar. There's 6 cards in Clinton's hand. Is one of them the kill card? Drum roll, please. Or do we just leave Brilvar alive and try to get a Tamer kill? Also an option. I don't necessarily support that option, but then again, I also got knocked out in round of 8 as opposed to making it to the final, so Clinton certainly knows what he's doing, and in this case, Clinton does opt to lead from the hand. Now, this does give Brilvar a chance to activate and run away, possibly doing some healing, but of course that means that Hokusai can chase after him based on that positioning. Brilvar will have to run within Hokusai's path line. You could do a taunt on Hokusai using a shapeshift that will allow Brilvar to heal, plus give him some bonus damage, which will negate mostly Hokusai's attack, and thus allow Brilvar the greater chance of survival. Let's see what Ian opts to do. Of course, Ian could also opt to have Shillavi start making her way into the center area there. Worship, skirmish, attack some minions, would allow the deletion of 2 minions, releasing some of the pressure on the lane. It does look like Freyhill is going to be the activator though, so we'll see what we have here. Call of the Pack could be also an option. I do note that Ian is bringing Call of the Pack in this deck. Hokusai would take quite a bit of piercing damage if Freyhill shapeshifts and plays it on there. But the worship action, I assume, will go on Brilvar, as we do see Freyhill going for the worship as her first action. And there's the Nightmare Incarnate reaction. Okay, so that is going to deal 3 damage to the Brilvar with no healing cards. Brilvar dies to this counter. Unless Ian has another reaction. Does Brilvar do something with his dying breath? Perhaps a shield slam against Korjoff, start dealing some more chip damage against him? Perhaps a Snowblind. Could that come out as well? No, it cannot. There is no Snowblind in these decks. There is a Psychic Shield card, though, however. If Ian has the Psychic Shield, I know that I saw Clinton there it is! There it is. Brilvar busting out the Psychic Shield. So there is 1 Psychic Shield in this entire deck. Nope, there's 2. I lied. Freyhill has the other ones. 2 more over there. So there are Psychic Shields in Ian's deck. And boy, did they come in clutch here. So Brilvar, and the +3 on the flip. So Brilvar, not only not going to die, but going to boost his HP back to 7. That's going to make assassination significantly more difficult for Clinton. Of course, Yami would be able to cast Shatterminds or Nightmare Incarnate of her own. But with Brilvar now having 3 armor, that's going to be substantially more difficult. Freyhill going for the attack against Korjoff. 0 damage there, so that's going to be 2 more damage. Korjoff to 11 HP. One final action, perhaps a skirmish action or a lead action. I have to assume with this setup, yep, there's the lead action. Very good. I have to assume with this setup, Ian is fairly confident that Brilvar doesn't die this round. As Clinton, I think it would be, given that you have a fairly strong lead in the lane, I don't think it's wholly unreasonable if we see him run Hokusai into that dome and use a worship action on Brilvar. You could, you obviously don't want to go next to Brilvar per se, because then that would interfere with Yami trying to get over there and doing the final remaining damage. I don't see Hokusai killing Brilvar unless there is a shield slam play. It could be an impervious shield slam or a double shield slam play. Either one of those, I think, could kill Brilvar. But Brilvar, with that 7 HP, looking significantly less interesting as a target. We'll see what Clinton opts to do here. Yami, of course, being disarmed, does limit her effectiveness for attacking unless Clinton has another time glitch. Time glitch would allow him to get fast, effectively nullifying the slow, and then you just use the removal portion to purge the disarm. There is also a Clear Mind in the deck thanks to Cytheru, so you could just get +1 attack there. And remove the condition as well to deal some damage. Let's see what happens. Of course, our players do take very high levels of care to think about their turns here, as on the Ashen Pass especially, one misfire could spell the end for that player. I've seen myself in several games where things are going pretty well, one misfire, and whoops, there goes my Nexus. Meanwhile, I did forget to mention at the end of turn, since Tactician is a relevant objective in this particular game, Clinton won 1 token, having control of lane 1. Ian won 1 control token, having won Dome number 2. All right, so somebody's activating here. I don't know who it is. It is Yami? Hokusai. All right, so Hokusai is worshipping on, it looked like, Freyhill. So we're going to deal 2 damage there. So Freyhill to 11, Hokusai to 9. Interesting that he didn't worship on Brilvar, though. So we're going to skirmish into the dome. Yep, so this is going to basically prevent Shillavi from getting in. She cannot make it. I don't think Ian has any fasts. Psychic Vampirism on the +2 and the flip. That is 2 damage there, because now that she is not shapeshifted, Freyhill is reduced to 0 armor. Oh, we might just be going to assassinate Freyhill now that I think about it. Freyhill has a 3-mana lead. You can just kill her off, and Freyhill plays the Charm. Charm, I assume, is going to remove the mark from her, which will return 1 armor. So this attack will be 2+1, so 2 damage total. Pretty good there. That actually does a lot in safeguarding her. That puts her to 7 instead of 6. Now, Hokusai does have 2 mana. You could see potentially a double shield slam. You could see an Impervious followed by a shield slam. I think both of those are options there that will deal 4 damage to Freyhill and make it so that Yami kills her on her activation. Clinton may also just simply set up for... Well, I guess you can't really set up for that situation. Dark Vigilante would likely get cordoned off here. So Ian is going to start attacking. Brilvar is activating. We're going to attack Korjov. 1 damage there. Brings Korjov down to 8 hit points. So Korjov's starting to get a little bit low as well. Not terribly high in danger yet, unless we see a bunch of shield slams come out. Shield slams from Brilvar right now are going to deal 3 damage apiece. We are going to see the skirmish here, so actually, if there's some shield slams in the deck, this could be a little bit dicey now for Korjov. So, 0 on the flip, though. No damage there. So, unfortunately, that does make it a little bit harder. You would need 3 shield slams, and unfortunately, Brilvar only has 2 mana. Finally, the action will be to worship. I assume we're going to worship on Freyhill. Yep, you better get her healing. Although Hokusai is now in range. Is there a Doom card potentially coming down? Hokusai could possibly doom Freyhill and prevent the healing. Let's see if that is the case here. I don't see a response appearing from Clinton, and his hand position on the board doesn't seem to suggest anything. Oh, the hand's coming back. Is there a doom coming out? Or something else, perhaps? Nope, there is not. +1. All right, so Freyhill is going to heal back up to 9. And in addition to that, Freyhill now has 2 armor. So Brilvar now goes and plays Shield Slam. This is going to deal 3 damage to Korjov. I assume we're not going to hit the Terror of the Endless Night. That would be kind of pointless. If Korjov dies, then we have another push dome, and Shilovy can either opt to take the dome or deal significant damage in the lane. And by deal significant damage, I really mean stave off the bleeding in the lane. As if Shilovy stays in the dome, that could result in a little bit of tower damage, not too much. All right. So, Clinton is going to go ahead and worship. We're going after Freyhill. Sounds good. So Yami is going to fling herself into the dome. As I mentioned, Yami does not care at all about slow in this situation because it is a teleport. Is Ian responding with a Sky Tier Discharge? Clinton is holding Yami mid-pose. The Sky Tier Discharge wouldn't do anything here because Yami is being placed as opposed to moving. So I wonder, is Brilvar going to potentially drop another Shield Slam on Korjov? That could be what or we're... Okay. 2 damage there. So are we going to influence the lane? So looking at this deck here, Shilovy does not have any way to get fast. So there is no chance of her getting into the dome. So Clinton is going to say that I'm okay drawing the dome. I'm going to go and siege your lane here, which means that Ian really has to come out, because if he doesn't, then in this situation, I think the Nexus explodes. Let me see. Right now it is 6-1. So that would be elite. No, the Nexus will survive with 1 hit point. Unless Yami has a quick shot. No, quick shots are on Nelliclin. There are no quick shots in this particular game, so Yami cannot quick shot, and as Yami is... Although Yami could use a Nightmares Incarnate card to destroy the last minion if she so chose. So Shilovy, I assume, is going to come out into the lane and dance tango with Yami. Ian cannot afford the risk. If Yami has a Nightmare Incarnate, we've seen one be played by Korjov. I saw another one be flipped. I can't remember if there's the last one, and I don't want to go through digging through the deck just yet. We're going to do that. So if everyone will please bear with me, we're just going to zoom out slightly here. We're going to go ahead and search through the deck here, or the discard. Let's see. Shadowmine. Don't care about Shadowmine. We care about Nightmare Incarnate. Wait a minute. I swear I saw one be flipped earlier. There it is. Okay, so it is possible that Clinton has a final Nightmare Incarnate in his hand. There are 4 cards left in Clinton's hand, which means that a Nightmares Incarnate from Yami could potentially spike that last minion, which would result in Nexus destruction. Hopefully Ian is aware of this and doesn't go for the greed play. Nope, looks like Shilovy comes out for the move. Does she go for the... Okay, so we're going to attack here. This will kill off the minion. Now, Shilovy is not currently shapeshifted, which means we're not going to flip against an additional minion. Unfortunately, you hate to see it when you flip 2 ultimates to kill a minion. What is worse than flipping an ultimate on a minion? 2 ultimates on a minion. Finally, we're going to lead from the deck to round things off. This makes perfect sense. That gives, if we do some quick maths here, that is 5 to 2 plus. So at worst, Clinton ties. Likely still possibly going to get a small lead. Oh, Shilovy does get a 3 though. So that is going to be a push in lane 1. No result there. Spawnerino Los Minionos. I apologize to our Spanish-speaking community for that, as I completely just butcher your language there. Oh no! Korjov led with a 0 from the deck. Uh-oh. I did not see that Korjov lead was from the deck, and so the Dark Vigilante comes onto the field. Now, why are you placing him down there, Ian? Stop. Put him next to the tower, and, well, you can't really kill Korjov. Yeah, you can kill Korjov. Move, attack, and +1 skirmish kills Korjov. So I'll go ahead and get the Dark Vigilante's HP on board here, as the DV is going to enter the game. Dark Vigilante, let's go ahead and take a look at his abilities since he's now on the field here. Dark Vigilante must spawn adjacent to a tower or nexus, as you can see. Sever gives him a +1 to the skirmish damage. Ian, why are you not killing Korjov? Ian, what? Stop. Ian, come on, man. Kill the Korjov. Violence, man. No control game. Violence. I realize that you're under a little bit of pressure here in the lane, but let's kill the Korjov. Anyways, so Sever allows you a +1 to your skirmish damage and then take a skirmish action. Skewer gives you piercing and then takes a skirmish action. Slash, which is what I thought Ian might be doing there, which is what it looks like we're doing here. Slash allows you to target the enemy minions. So, dead minion for certain. So I guess in this case, actually, from this position, you can now skirmish and attack and kill Korjov. So this is actually not too bad. I will apologize again. Of course, there's a reason that Ian is in the finals and I am not, because Ian goes for the 5,000 IQ play. I go for the dumb. All right, so that's going to be 2 on the flip there. I'm not sure if that was, I assume that was the +1. Yep, that brings that there. The last attack will, or the last one I assume will be the regular attack, which is 2+, and we have a dead Korjov. All right, so that's +1 tamer point for Ian. Dead Korjov, which means it's time for Setheru to make his appearance. Now, importantly enough, I don't believe we've seen Final Judgment. Again, we're going to go ahead and zoom out for just a second while the players clean up. If I could get a look at the deck, that would be wonderful. TTS, thank you. Did we see Setheru's ultimate? We've seen blue, we've not. Nope. Okay, so Setheru coming on board here might actually be very good timing. Final Judgment would allow an attack against both Freyhill and Brilvar, and the Dark Vigilante and the Terror, if you were so inclined. Or you can blow up all 3 of the minions and deal some damage on Shilovy, granting a significant swing in control power for you. Let's see what Clinton opts to do here. As we are headed into round 3, we've also not seen Supernova. Now that I think about that, we have not seen Hokusai's ultimate. So Clinton has 6 cards in hand. He's gone through quite a bit of his deck. He's got to have at least one of Final Judgment or Supernova. We have seen Kneel Before Me. Featherstorm no longer matters because Korjov has died. With those 2 ultimates, massive AoE damage can be dealt. And it looks like Hokusai's going. I bet we see a Supernova. All right. We are... What are we doing here? Are we leading on Freyhill? Or worshipping on Freyhill? I'm not sure if we need to do that. She's already marked, so she does have 1 armor. Of course, Brilvar's Shapeshift does provide her with +1 armor. Hokusai's... Okay, Hokusai is going to play Doom on Freyhill, so we're just going to immediately cancel anything that she wants to do in terms of magic. So Freyhill flips the charm. Was that the charm from the Doom effect? Ah, no, that was an actual charm response. Okay. So, in this situation, it looks like we're going to go ahead and flip. So we have 2 damage there from the attack for 3 damage. Okay, so maybe I guess Ian just turned the charm face up. So normally sometimes players will tilt their cards sideways that they are doomed for, just so you can differentiate between a doomed card versus a play card. Obviously, it doesn't really make too much of a difference as it's going to drain Freyhill's mana either way. So with this situation, yep, we go ahead, we just go for the kill. This is going to deal piercing damage with a +2 on the flip. Supernova! Okay, so Hokusai is not going to play Supernova, but Freyhill is going to die. So Freyhill out, Korjov in. Now, Hokusai is down to 6 HP as a result. So 5 HP, excuse me. 5 HP as a result. So this is a little bit risky now. Korjov, as a mage, is coming onto the field. Shilovy can activate and shapeshift. Setheru is already the reserve hero. So Clinton's already lost 1 hero. Positioning is going to be important here. Korjov, if he spawns next to Yami, can just immediately activate and go and kill Hokusai. Does not look to be the case there. Perhaps, no? Okay, we are going to do that. Good. Because in this situation, I think you activate, you move skirmish attack, and you have a dead Hokusai. All right, so Clinton is going to finish with a... Oh, bold. We're going to go for a lead from the deck, though. Interesting. So this is going to, I think, incentivize killing Hokusai, which I guess is not terribly inefficient, because if Kordjoff is killing Hokusai, Kordjoff is not killing Setheru. Also bringing Kordjoff in line for that final judgment that I mentioned. If Clinton is holding it, Clinton is now holding 7 cards. I don't think I'm going to do one more screening here to make sure that we haven't seen the final judgment. There are 22 cards in discard, 7 cards in hand, which means that Clinton's deck has almost expired. There is, in fact, 3 cards left, I think. Oh, no, 1 card left, as he did do some leads and some plays. I don't think we've seen final judgment here. No, we have not, which means that, statistically speaking, Clinton is holding final judgment. And as I said, both locations are very juicy targets. Setheru will likely be using that on his turn. Let's see what we have as a result. Also, as a side point, Ian did get a second tactician point from the control of the dome from turn number 2. Let's see what we have in store for Ian's turn here. Do you activate Shillavi, activating Kordjoff's worship abilities, or do you just use Kordjoff and go ahead and kill Hokusai? Hokusai does have 2 mana remaining, so it is possible that there are shield slams. There are impervious boosted shield slams, perhaps. That could be useful. Yami also might have some passing damage if she has a Nightmares Incarnate. That could be useful. I don't believe there are migraines. There are not. I don't think there's anything else in particular that she'd want to do except maybe a Doom play. I don't really see that being too effective. Ian also does have 6 cards in hand. We did see 2 of his ultimates be flipped. I think we've also seen Glacial Rebirth as well be flipped for a heal earlier. I don't remember if we've seen Dance of the Predator, so we're going to go ahead and remind ourselves if we have seen Dance of the Predator while the players figure out what they want to do. Let's take a look in our deck there. Oh, Dance of the Predator was actually first. Okay, so there is no ultimate in hand for Ian. And Kordjoff plays Presence. Oh boy, here we go. Is Kordjoff just going to stay in the lane? Interesting. I would not have expected this. With assassination potential on Hokusai, I would not have expected to see this. Unless you're going to run Kordjoff into the dome, at which case that makes perfect sense. So Ian is going to go ahead and predict 2 with the effects of Presence. We're going to discard it. Hey, wait a minute. Since when do you have a nurse, sir? Oh, there it is. Okay. Yep. So there is some healing in this deck. I have misspoken from earlier. I missed that on my first run through. There's not much healing, but there is a little bit. All right, so there we go. Looks like we're going to also discard the Wind Blast as well. So Kordjoff is going to move. Yep, here we go. It's time to go and kill Hokusai. Brings Clinton down to 2 heroes. Skirmish action. Do we see a Sky Tier Discharge, perhaps, from Clinton before this comes down? No, we do not. All right, so we're going to skirmish into the dome. Hokusai is now going to take 1 piercing damage, which means that Kordjoff kills on an attack, assuming that he does not flip a 0, which with this particular deck is still possible. There are Sinkholes, Call of the Packs, Strength of the Packs, so it is possible, Wind Blast, so it is possible that Hokusai survives this. We shall see. Show me damage. Up, but Hokusai is not going to go out without a bang. And we're, okay, that's what we want to see. Oh, Hokusai. Okay, chain reaction here. So, Kordjoff brings down the Psychic Shield. Hokusai, however, is going to survive, despite playing the Shield Slam and the Psychic Vampirism, which would have healed him 2 damage. Hokusai does not die from that effect there, as it did only 3 damage. If Ian has a power card, then we can simply just use the power card and clean off Hokusai that way. Looks like we are having some thinking here. Hokusai still does have 1 mana remaining, so it is possible to not finish the job. Let's see what our players choose to do in this situation. Of course, Clinton does have Psychic Shields of his own in the deck, so if Korjov attempts an assassination via magic card, it is possible that Hokusai will be able to respond with a defense. I apologize, I did not look through the deck at the time and see how many Psychic Shields. I know we've seen a couple, but I do believe that it is still 1 remaining. So the question is, who is Clinton going to activate? Looks like Ian is going to end his turn. We see Korjov exhausted there. No immediate play, so Clinton is going to move. All right, Satheru, not happy about the attack on his comrade. We're going after somebody here. Move, skirmish, we're going into the dome. Okay, we're jumping right on Korjov. Take out the Birdman. Apparently we're doing all sorts of non-COVID safe protocols here. And there's Final Judgment. Unfortunately, that means that you can't play it, but this does mean Brilvar is about to bite the dust. With the skirmish action, that was 3 piercing damage against Brilvar. With an attack action, that's 3 plus the flip. Clinton's deck does not carry plus zeros, which means that barring any shenanigans from Ian, perhaps the other Nourish card, if it remains, this is going to be a dead Brilvar. Brilvar, of course, does have 3 mana, so actually, if there's a sinkhole, he could just simply sinkhole Satheru out of the dome. That is a way for him to survive. Clinton is going to run the gamble. We are going to see the final attack called down. Show me dead boy. Oh, I hear shuffling. We've got a shuffle, which means that it is now possible for Final Judgment to be drawn as Brilvar bites the dust. Now, Brilvar has not activated yet, which means Clinton will get the final activation of this turn as well. So, what does Shalavi do? Shalavi cannot make it into the dome from this position right now, which means that in this situation, you have to defend Dome 2. Ooh. So this is interesting. You can't defend Dome 2, I don't think, as then Yami just cleans off your minions, leads, and you lose. So I think in this situation, Clinton is actually going to get the double Dome play. And with the cover hex exposed right now, the bear, Terror of the Endless Night. Okay, so Satheru is going to play Shadowmind. Yep, we're setting up here. This is going to hurt. I do not like Ian's position at this point. So Satheru is going to deal damage there to Korjov, brings him to 11. Korjov did not lead, which means as long as Satheru and Hokusai are sitting there, it is a 2-1 dome victory. Shillavi cannot get into the dome, courtesy of this COVID not safe defense line. She can't go into dome number 2, as then Yami just goes ahead and wins the game. So it looks like we're going to see... Oh, wait a minute. We're going to do Call of the Pack. All right, so this isn't going to be enough to kill, I don't think, the total lead advantage here. But it will certainly help out nonetheless. So Call of the Pack will let you spawn a minion. Then if you have fewer minions, you can go ahead and spawn an additional minion. So this does make it now 5-5. So with this situation, Shillavi can actually go ahead and defend in dome number 2 and prevent the double dome play. Looks like we are going to thin some out here in expectation of what Yami's about to do. So Ian is going to attack. Dead minion. I assume now you skirmish and then lead in the dome. as that would give you control of lane 1, assuming that Yami doesn't do anything to the minions, which kind of seems silly because she can simply move through the minions, worship onto Shillavi to deal some damage and then get into the dome to contest, or just wreak havoc in the lane, and then potentially teleport into that cover hex, preventing the Terror of the Endless Night from spawning over there. Ian has to think very carefully about his decisions on this play. He's not out of it just yet. Oh, and we're going to see the Sky Tier discharge. So, Shillavi says, we're going for it. Moves into the dome here. Do you want the cover hex? Maybe not. Think about a possible terror spawn location in order to give Shillavi Frenzy for the next round. That will result then in a flip. So this is going to be 2... Oh, wait a minute. Nope, we're undoing this. We're moving down there. 2+ piercing on the discharge flip now from Cytheru. And the Feather Storm, Korjoff from behind the grave. Not happy about being betrayed, which is hilarious because according to the lore, Korjoff is a giant traitor himself, which is cool, but Shillavi down to 13 and leads from the hand. All right, so does Yami just simply wreak havoc in the lane, move skirmish or move attack and a lead with the Nightmares Incarnate, does a ton of damage to the control zone here, possibly just ending the game. If Clinton has something to work with, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have any of the 3-mana cards in his hand based on what I remember from his deck shuffle. But it is possible that he has a 2 lead from either the Lifesteal or the Nightmares Incarnates cards if he has a couple copies of those. Also has not used the Flex yet, interestingly enough. We are on turn 3 and have not seen the Flex be popped. Meanwhile, as we see Eric making the comment about Shillavi's ult needed now, unfortunately, as we saw earlier, Shillavi's ult was sitting at the very bottom of Ian's discard pile, and so that really wasn't an option at the time. Clinton thinking very carefully. In this case, as we mentioned, as always, Sky Tier, the game of math. Right now, the right now the control value in Zone 1 is 5-5. It is a draw. Lane 2, Shillavi leading with a card there. We assume probably a 3-mana card, so that's probably 1-4. Or excuse me, that is 1-4, probably 4. Over in Dome number 3, or excuse me, Dome number 2, Control Zone number 3, it is a 2-1 lead for Clinton, so he is guaranteed to win that Dome unless Korjoff does something weird at the end of the activation, which I don't think that he can. No, looking at these cards, there is nothing that we can see for like surprise at the end of the round there. So that is Clinton's Dome for Dome number 3. If Yami moves through a minion, if she attacks a minion, if she Nightmare Incarnates a minion, and if she leads, that should be, well, leads from the deck and gets lucky on the lead, or leads from the hand if she has 2. Let's see, if we remove 3 minions, that would give us a 5-2. With an additional 2, that would give us 7-2, so that would remove 2 minions, plus 3 damage to the tower. Nope, so not quite enough. So it does not look like there's a Nexus Destruction, courtesy of Call of the Pack, that was played earlier from Shillavi, that will prevent Nexus Destruction. However, still possible to deal some damage to the towers, setting up for possible turn 4 destruction. We'll see what the end result here is, as Yami does get to essentially run around uncontested. Shillavi has 1 mana, Korjoff has 1 mana, everybody else is dead. The other option, of course, is that we could attack a minion. Well, we don't necessarily want to do that to Korjoff because at the cost of blocking the Terror spawn, Dark Vigilante would not be able to get access to Korjoff. Although, as it stands, it would still take all 3 actions just to get to Korjoff with the Dark Vigilante in either way. So this defensive line here, not going to help too much in that regard. Kordrov is fairly well positioned to prevent an assassination attempt from the Dark Vigilante. So Clinton may just opt to use the DV to either deal some damage to Shilovy or kill off more minions. Get some lane pressure. Those seem to be the two routes for the Dark Vigilante's activation this turn. Of course, if that control zone moves any closer, well, nope, with the repositioning, 2 minions will have to move. If Yami does not move, then the respawns will prevent Dark Vigilante from spawning at that tower. Have to see what happens here. All right, so while we have a lot in the action, let's talk about the new card a little bit. So the new, of course, as soon as I say that, looks like we have somebody doing something. Nope, just kidding. All right, so, nope, Clinton, stop faking me out like this. All right, until we see an action icon, we're going to talk about the new card. So as we mentioned, this new particular card, I think I lied from earlier. We're just going to reveal the name of it now. As we did mention, it is a green card, and so I'm sure that the name Dream of Talat comes as no surprise to you. And as I mentioned yesterday, as Giacomo did say when we were talking about the card when he gave it to me, this card has a very simple effect for a whole lot, has a whole lot of a text for a very simple effect. It is an effect that certainly is relevant to the Talat team, and Giacomo was particular about noting that Vorhild will find it, Vorhild, I think. Vorhild will find it particularly interesting. In addition to that, also as a reminder, please also don't forget to check out our various content creators. Since we don't have any action going on, we'll take a time to plug that. Many of the members of the community do their own things to create, augment, and enhance the Sky Tier experience. GameSlayer recently put up a video regarding his experiences with the October qualifier. I believe he did have a few of his videos, a few of his games from his perspective as well, so go ahead and watch those. Zergul has been working behind the scenes for various things in the German-Portuguese scene, and also as a new member of the Outsiders Only podcast. We did indeed do a new card today as well. We did our first recording. We did a farewell recording for Rem, also called Christian, as he will also be stepping down from the show. There's another new card there that I won't spoil here because that's Outsiders Only, and this is the stream here, but there is another new card, so please do tune in to episode number 26, which will be available on Wednesday, I believe. The new card there, I'm quite excited about, as it is a card. Aha! You thought I was going to tell you something. You thought wrong. Meanwhile, Tim is over there dreaming in green. That's concerning because that means that you may have a ocular abnormality, sir. If you're seeing all in green, I would potentially consult your eye doctor for that. You might want to get that checked out. In addition to that, we also have Adventure Mode being worked on. What is Adventure Mode, you may ask? Well, Adventure Mode is a is a PvE experience that can be done by yourself or potentially with friends as well. There is a number of it's kind of a campaign scenario that the team at PvP Geeks has been putting together. The entire project has undergone numerous revisions over and over again. We are looking forward to beta testing that coming within the next couple days, and then hopefully being able to bring that to you. Giacomo has promised that because it's PvE, we might be able to see some wild extensions or modifications to heroes' abilities, since we don't necessarily have to worry about competitive balance and we can just focus on game balance. In terms of the campaign experience, there are a number of different things that are being looked at. We're considering items for heroes, augments, modifications to their passive abilities, as I mentioned, different kind of equipment up cards, a progression system of sorts, and each different scenario will have, we hope, some replayability due to being able to use various heroes or different possible deck structures. So please also keep in mind that project will be dropping sometime in the future. That's a little bit further away in the future, as opposed to our next expansion, the Endless Sun, coming out in, oh baby, 2 weeks time. 2 weeks and a half, I guess, if we're going to be technical here. It does drop on the 13th, so about 18 days remaining. And that will introduce a whole host of new power cards. Okay, finally, action. Here we go. Yami is going to activate an attack. No, wait, what? Wait a minute. Why did you just... Okay, there we go. Yep, misfire. Okay. I was going to say, I was like, why are you getting rid of your own mittens, Clinton? That's not how you win the game. Although there is a reason that you may sacrifice minions. Cough, cough. We'll go into that later. So, we are going to attack and destroy the minion there, so that now brings the control count 5 to 4. Does Clinton now go for a move? As we mentioned, the quick shot cards were on Nelliclin, which means that quick shots are not coming out. Yami is going to bring down the Nightmare Incarnate. That makes sense. Who are you going to blast? You blast that one. Makes sense. Go ahead now, run through a minion or two with your move, and then worship onto Korjov and block the... Hey, we're going for fast. Okay. Are we going after Shillavi then? Looks like. So, Yami is now hasted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going into the... Okay, so in this situation, we're just going into the cover hex to block the terror spawn from that location. All right. So, that was move. Do we lead? Okay, where are you leading from, Clinton? Hopefully it is from the hand. We saw what happened. Okay, we're leading from the deck. Risky, but I guess that has to be the play. If you don't have anything to lead definitively from the hand, we're going to have to gamble and hope that you've reshuffled one of those ultimates. Let's go ahead and see what happens here. 2 minions die. The control zone does press against the tower. So Ian does have to respawn his minions first. Clinton, why would you spawn the minion right there, man? You can spawn the I guess it doesn't really matter if you don't care about the DV. Spawning down there in the first place. Oh, and Shillavi led from a 2, and Yami leads with a 1. So, therefore, as a result, although Shillavi did not, never mind. So, Terror is going to show up right over there. Surprise, surprise, surprise. And Vigilante. These minions need to reposition. Those minions are out of line of sight, gents. Those minions got to hustle up. So if you bring those down there, Clinton, you could spawn no, why are you not? Okay, whatever. Clinton knows what he's doing. I don't, so let's see what happens here. Terror is going to fling Hokusai over, placing disarm on him using the Dreadful Majesty ability. Going to attack. That is a dead Hokusai. I assume it was an attack. As we did see the +3 flip, and I feel like skirmishing... Oh. Why are we showing lifesteal? This seems like an interesting time to play that. Not sure why we're showing that. Wait, what's happening here? I'm confused. Oh, right, that's the end of the game. That's Tamer. Victory by Tamer. Whoops, what am I talking about? Yeah, that's Tamer. That Hokusai kill from the Terror of the Endless Night would be the second kill. Whoops, I'm zoning out there. Let's go ahead and talk to the players, as that is now Tamer victory for Ian.
Psychic Killer. GG.
Good games, gents.
Thank you.
That was a nail biter.
Did you like that bluff at the end when I led from hand with a 2 mana?
I did, because I was saying generally from 3 or from hand it's usually a 3, but that was a 2 there. Very nicely done.
Yeah. And I had a life steal in hand, so I could have matched it.
Right.
But I had to go for the gusto.
Sure.
I mean, you saw it was like 4. I only had 3 out of like 15, I think. 3 out of 15
Mm-hmm.
is so a 1 in 5 chance
Right.
to flip the 3 that I needed to win it. That's what took so long, was doing the math.
Sure. No,
The
that's
best
what I
I could
figured.
do.
Mhm.
Yeah, the best I could do here was taking the tower down to 3 hit points.
Mhm.
I also had 2 dooms in hand,
Okay.
and if I would have doomed and prevented the call of the pack, that would have made the difference too.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Doom's
if that
just so hard to
happens, then
play.
if that happens, I have to stay in the middle, and I probably, I have to lead, and just have to go to the next round and hope something good happens. But
Mhm.
If we go to the next round, I think it's over.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I think it is. So I thought, all right, I can get this card off. I don't think there's any way I can lose the middle, with my math. And I thought if I can just win the dome, and my thought was first like, well, I hope Clinton just doesn't have a 3 in hand. And then, I mean, knowing his high damage flip deck, and the fact that he had just shuffled too,
Right.
Yeah.
and I knew that all of the ults were in the discard pile. So
Yeah, I mean, you knew like literally that all 4 of them were.
yeah,
And so it had to depend
it had
on
to
if
be
I had
from
drained
the
last
top of the deck.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, it was good. I also, like I said, the bluff was good. It probably got away with me a little bit because I probably got too greedy over here.
Mm.
Like I probably could, well, I couldn't move Sethuru out. I had to do that.
Mhm.
I had to go in there. The thing I talked about earlier was the potential of playing lifesteal, to get Hokusai to heal himself. In that last round when he was there, it would have maybe healed enough maybe to keep me around, maybe. But I wanted it for the shield slam and the doom.
Mhm.
Right.
Makes sense.
It was tough. Good play. It's funny because I think like he was doing a better job of killing, and I was doing a better job of winning the lane.
Yeah,
Which is not
ironically.
what's supposed to happen.
So I know Clinton in our game in Swiss, I went second, but I definitely went with like I threw Korjoff like right in the middle, and you ended up doing like 11 damage to him round 1. And
You did. Was it Korjoff in the middle or Brovar in
I
the middle?
think so. I think it was Korjoff.
It was Korjoff because Yami just like.
I totally screwed that game up so bad, and so I thought going into this next game, like I had gone in, I was gonna choose to go second no matter what. Like
Oh, really?
my game plan was to win the domes,
Mhm.
and if I can win your dome, and I was like, if I can get my bear at lane 2, and happen to lose lane 3, I was absolutely going to use the bear to grab the
sure.
vigilante and throw him in a corner and try to prevent that. But
Yeah, so so a lot of people have been talking about the constellation prize of losing the coin flip, and switching these control points could be one of them.
yeah, that's actually
Right?
not a bad idea.
Because that's like a very easy thing, but like I'll say with the Dark Vigilante, if I don't have if I don't have it at number 2, multiple times people have disarmed them. People have
Oh, yeah.
pulled them, switched them with the what's her name, the green one.
Silent Ambassador?
Oh, swapping.
Yeah, Silent Ambassador.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's really like made it so the Dark Vigilante can't get as much value out as they normally do.
Right.
But yeah, so like that would be an interesting swap because like yeah, having you have there as well, because so here goes the other thing is like if I had the dome number 2 here, I could have moved into a position to make it difficult to potentially pull Hokusai. Right, because I could have moved Yami here,
yeah, 100%.
and I could have made it like much harder for you to get within range. I think you still might have been able to get it. Right, so
That's really interesting
here,
to think about that.
Because what I would have done there was Yami here. I'm not trying to overanalyze this either. I go here, but you still get here. You can still pull them. I still think you got it. Right. Actually, at that point, yeah, I don't know what I would do. I don't think I could do it because his pull ability is just so good. So, but no, good game, Ian. Congratulations on
Thank
making
you,
it
thank you,
and
thank
qualifying
you.
for Worlds.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. Glad to get that out of the way. Now I can just play and have fun the rest of the time, right?
It's true, yeah. Now,
Right,
now you have no pressure on you at all.
people play this just to have fun. What?
Apparently, yeah, that's the rumor.
Well, it's a lot of fun. It was fun playing with Clinton, but honestly, like, shout out to Clinton, Eric, and Tim and Joe. Like, we've been playing
Mm-hmm.
Ashen games for 3 weeks now in preparation for this. So like,
Wow,
we all
very nice.
were getting our reps in,
Mhm.
and definitely couldn't have done this without those guys, and especially Eric with this deck. Like, him and I both playing the same 32. We'd been working on it for a while, and this final rendition has got some of Eric's things in there. So props to him as well.
Mhm.
And the funny thing is probably how well we both know each other's decks, like,
Yep.
Right.
and play styles too.
Yeah.
Like, I think the beginning, I will say that Ian, you did an excellent job of knowing what I normally like to do, and making it very difficult for me to achieve, like getting that turn 1 Dark Vigilante.
Definitely helped, like,
Yeah.
losing to you so bad in the Swiss, and then like just trying not to make the same mistakes again. So
Yeah, that was awesome.
All
I
right.
think that's all we got, RG.
All right. Well, thank you very much, gents, for your time. And now, of course, everyone's favorite time. It's time to look at new cards. Woo!
Spoiler time.
Yay! So, as we
Nice.
mentioned, if we go ahead and draw our attention to the general chat, please take a look at the new power card, which, as we mentioned, is called Dreams of Talent. As we mentioned, a green reaction card, 1 mana, +2 on the flip. You may remove a friendly pillar on the battlefield. Then, place a friendly pillar on a target hex that does not contain a token or a miniature. So, as Giacomo and I said, relaying his message, a whole lot of text for a small effect.
So remove a friendly pillar and then place a friendly pillar.
Correct. Yes. So essentially the worship action without the triggering effects.
Yep. Got it. And a +2.
And a +2, right?
Modifier.
Yep. And a
There you
+2
go.
modifier. So apparently, as I mentioned, Giacomo said that Vorhild likes this especially.
Yes.
So
yes.
what does that mean? Question mark.
I think maybe we get to see that tomorrow is what the rumors are.
So apparently what I understand, so this is a funny story. I can't remember who I was telling this to earlier, but Giacomo told me that they shipped out the 2 expansions to Team Covenant so that they could preview them on the stream. They sent them out as one package, but only the Stormseer expansion that has Kumaya and Shadris made it to Team Covenant. Like the one the one with Vorhild and Nantaka just disappeared.
Oh no.
They have no idea what happened.
Another switcheroo.
Yeah.
I did see that Steven posted in the content that they are going to be looking at Storms here tomorrow. So
Yes. So,
check out the Team Covenant stream tomorrow, everybody.
Yep. And so because I was talking with Giacomo, being a Kurimo fanboy here, I was trying to convince him to spoil Kumaya, and then he's like, well, given this situation, I think they'll show Kumaya on stream, and so then we pivoted to Nantaka. So at some point we're going to display Nantaka to the community. I don't know how yet or when yet, but please do keep your eyes peeled as we are going to upgrade our spoiler game from cards to an actual hero.
It's going to be awesome.
It is going to be awesome. So please do look forward to that. For myself, for Ian and Clinton, thank you very much for joining us, everyone. Remember, the next qualifier is next month, but before that, there is the regional competition, which is worth 50% more Sky Tier shards to qualify. So for those of you who are, have started your journey, you're sitting somewhere in the high single digits and you think, I'm not going to make it, don't think that way. Get in the regional, get those Sky Tier shards, and get yourself to Worlds. Have a good night, everyone. We'll see you on...
completely agree.
Good. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.